It's a scenario we know really well. It's a frosty morning, but it's not freezing cold. So how is it that ice is developing, even if the temperature isn't freezing? Well, first we need to think about where that temperature is being taken. At 5 feet above the ground, it's not necessarily telling you the temperature in those spots that are getting frost. So even if it's 36 degrees in your town, that 5 feet above the ground observation may not tell you that your lawn is below freezing or that your car windshield is below freezing. And so that's why we start to see these pockets of frost develop in areas, for example, where cold air sinks, like a lawn, where you have those dips and divots. That's going to be the first spot you often see frost. Now, if you have a tree overhead, that'll keep some frost from developing, because as that heat radiates out, trees will capture some of that frost. But let's go to plants, because that's another spot where you're going to see frost. Leaves are really efficient at losing heat. Kind of their job, right? But you have cold air on one side of a leaf, you have cold air on another side of a leaf. It's essentially like a sandwich of cold for them. And so you're losing heat on both sides. And that's part of the reason why you'll see frost develop on your tender plants very easily, unless you put a blanket over it and will keep some of the cold air from getting into your leaves. Now, when it does get into the leaf, those ice crystals build and it bursts some of the plant cells. And that essentially acts like a bruise and can end the growing season for a lot of plants. But on rooftops, you'll notice a lot of frost as well. That's because roofs do a great job at releasing heat. Of course, moisture is coming from your house as well. So that's another spot where you tend to see frost. On average, Columbia records its first freeze on November 6th, but that can vary greatly. Of course, when temperatures start dropping into the 30s, my attention turns to the garden. We still have a lot of tender plants like basil, so I decided to pick that for dinner, and some zucchini blossoms. Even though I'm not expecting that this is going to be a killing frost for our garden in Columbia, it's gonna get pretty dicey, so better safe than sorry. I also love cuttings of coleus because they look beautiful inside a nice vase with water, and if you keep them there long enough, they'll actually send roots out that you can plant in a pot and keep them as a houseplant over the winter. I'm meteorologist Alex Calamia. Stay warm and happy gardening.